be my guest. So, at this point, you're probably familiar with the asana, the seated asana that you feel most comfortable in. You're not struggling to be in this cross-legged position, or in virasana for that matter. Take enough height so that you can lift your lower spine. There should be a tallness in the lower spine. Adjust the shoulder blades so they're flat on the back. So today, as part 2 of what we did last week, elongation of the spine, we're working on the shoulder blades belonging to the back and the kicking in of the dorsal spine, okay? So adjust yourselves in that manner, in such a way that your lumbar spine, first of all, you're evenly balanced across the buttocks. The lower spine is tall. The shoulder blades are flat like almonds on the back body. The thoracic spine is moving away from the wall that you have your back to. And additionally, talking about lumbar spine, thoracic, you've adjusted the cervical spine, the third part of the spine, so that the ears are perpendicular to the floor. Oftentimes what we see is the chin's lifting, and you have that flexion in the back of the neck. So remember the technique, if you will, of taking the hands to the back of the occiput, spreading the skin, just calming to the brain, and then moving the base of the skull away from the trapezius. And then now, as you replace the hands on the roots of the thighs, sense that strong lift to your trunk, the lifting of the side ribs. Observe your back body, because as you sit for longer periods of time, you will tend to round. So can you kick that dorsal spine in? But be mindful, when you kick the thoracic spine in, don't push the organic body at the navel band forward. So it's a delicate dance in adjusting. And we're spending a bit more time on the physical adjustments today, because our class today is about moving the thoracic spine in. Now close the eyes if you haven't already, but typically we close the eyes after the adjustments. And in this way, we're withdrawing from the outside world and beginning the process of involution of the body, of the mind, which takes time. See if you can encourage a stillness of your body and a quietness of your heart. Be both calm and quiet. Be both cooled and warm at the same time. See if you can feel just the touchstones of the body sitting, of your body resting, the body breathing. And come back to either the body or the breath as your anchor to remind you of the presence of now. In addition to reminding yourself of the presence of now, you can repeat to yourself, "Oh, nobly born, remember who you truly are." And those of you who have a personal vow, you can silently repeat that to yourself, or the one that we've been doing. May I be a boat, a raft, a bridge for all beings to cross the flood. May I be a resting place for the weary. May I be medicine for all who are sick. May I be a lamp in the darkness for those who are lost. And may I do so as long as earth and sky and galaxies exist, until all are enlightened. I vow to be here to serve them all. Now, when you're ready, you can open up your eyes and stretch out your legs. So I'd like to start off with Viparita Karani. It's one that we've been working on at the wall. You can see the setup with the bolster and blanket. If you don't have a wall or a bolster or a blanket, you can simply lie over 2 blocks in the easy way, just side by side, the low side. Okay, so let me see. Let me see who's here that's come in. Peggy's here. Welcome, Young Quay. Julie. All right. So if you don't have a wall, then you can open. The reason why I'm having you come into Vikrita Karani is the back body is in a back bend. The legs are at good rahel in a forward bend. It's easy to, yeah, easier with the wall to hold the straps and swing up. So if you don't have a wall, then I understand it's harder to do. You could also just have your legs up at the wall. Remember to take, most people need a bolster and a blanket, and see that your buttocks, probably, yeah, see that your buttocks are about 3 inches away from the wall so that your buttocks sink into the space between the bolster and the wall, right? Because what typically happens is people get too close to the wall and the abdomen is lifting. So drop those buttock bones that you felt. Young Quay, yeah, I mean, Kiko, that's it. All right. It's hard to tell on the screen because you have to see it not frontally, but from a side view. It's a Polly, you have a side view of yourself so I can see it better. Lubna, the same thing. So if you could get in profile, then I can observe your abdomen, but don't worry about it. Julie, have the feet a little bit more apart, Rahel, the same thing so that the abdomen can spread. That's it. Yeah, not too much wider. Just when the legs are apart, you can really feel the difference. When the legs are straight, are together, the diaphragm feels more tense. So remember, the legs are in a forward bend. The back body is the trunk, that's good, Lubna, is in a back bend. Okay. So some of you I can see were here, I know, on Tuesday, and that's good. Oh, Donna, there's like a light dance going on your mat over there, the other mat. It's funny, like a dance of the light. And Quay, that looks good. See if you can drop the into, so there's a space, guys, between the baseboard and the wall. And your pelvis is really not on the bolster. It's actually in the, well, Young Quay, I'm saying this for you as I look at you. Yeah, you need to be a little dropped in. That's it. Because otherwise your abdomen, it should, that's it. You see, it's more of a back bend in the back body, and the pelvis is almost in that anterior tilt, good Andy, of a forward bend. Okay, so the first position are feet apart, not a lot apart, but apart. Remind yourself of why you're doing this. We're getting the thoracic spine to open. Feel the shoulder blades flat on the back as aided by the floor, right? And then just have the arms out to the side with the palms up, the fingers relaxed, the backs of the hands pressing into the earth. And then we'll take the legs apart. Okay, so again, kicking the thoracic spine in, but do relax your throat, the sides of the throat, the bottom of the throat, and the eyes. You can even close your eyes. Now take the legs about 3 feet apart, not too wide, but don't let the feet roll out. So keep the inner edges of the feet running parallel to each other and press the thighs into the wall. No knees. Donnie, got a belt for the legs? Could do, yeah, that's always a possibility, yeah. That contained, so Donna had just belted her lower shins, and that's always nice, especially if it causes, if someone were to have a hip issue with this, this leg parameter, this metric, it contains the legs, the belt. So that's an option as well. Yeah, you can go a little further apart with your legs now, just a little bit. Now run a line from the center of the perineum all the way up the wall and see that one leg is not closer in or further out, okay? So say there's there's usually differences in the inner thighs and outer hips. I want you to keep the legs from that plumb line equidistant, versus one leg 2 feet apart and the other 1.5 feet. So it's still symmetrical. Okay. So the first position, feet apart. Second, wider apart, but the inner edges of the feet are running parallel. Not too wide, Andy. Yeah, not too wide. Okay. And now soles of the feet together, Baddha Konasana. Those of you who happen to have like an egg-shaped block or even a foam block, an opportunity is to, another way of doing it is to place the block, but the foam block usually works better. Cork could do, wood often slides down the wall. You could put a block between the feet, widen the thighs away. You can put your hands on your inner thighs, turning the inner knee to the outer knee as you press the feet strongly. Now this one, I feel of all the leg positions, relaxes the diaphragm the most. So if you want to put your hand on your diaphragm, spread it from the center outwards. Again, feel the thoracic spine moving in, that cinching in of the thoracic skin at the 9th, 10th vertebrae. Continue to elongate the cervical spine away from the trapezius as you stay. So the last one, leg position, is the cross-legged position. So why doesn't everyone stretch out the legs for the health of the knees? Just straighten the legs up at the wall and then cross them at the shins. And then after a minute, we'll change the cross. Relax the feet. Widen the thighs away from each other so the knees are moving back toward the wall. That's good, Rahel. So ideally, as I said earlier, when you cross, it's more of the shin is crossed versus the ankle. But I understand that if there's anything going on with the hips or the knees, then Polly, it's fine to have more of the cross at the ankle. Change the cross when you're ready. Left in front of right, or if you've done right in front of left. And then you can hold the bolster, especially if it's a bolster that has the straps, and scoot toward the head side, but not so far. Yeah, move the pelvis so it comes off the bolster and rest the backs of your legs, the thighs, on the support of the bolster. You're still in cross-legged, so this exit, we'll call it, you know, it's the same cross-legged position of the previous one at the wall, but now we're moving out of it. Good, Donna. That's good. It's nice, you know, I know that's a lot to ask to see it from a profile because not all of you have that wall in that same shape that would show it. That I could see in profile. Now, take the arms overhead to elongate the side ribs. And taking the arms overhead, do not activate your mind. Do not activate your eyes. If the arms don't come to the floor, hold in Baddha Hasta. Lubni, yeah, we'll use the Tao Lubna. I know you didn't get the Tao, but had you? All right, change the cross. Those of you in Baddha Hasta, down hand. Andy, instead of holding the elbows, hold the forearms because that will make your elbows come down. So instead of going to the elbow or the upper arm, go wider. Just hold your forearms. And then your elbows, yeah, hold the forearms. Yes, yes, there you go. You see how now the elbows can touch the floor, that decentralized position. It seems like a moot point, but it works. So, you know, holding the upper arm is more of a moving along. And if there's any restrictions in the thoracic, it gets revealed. Then you can hold the wrists or just hold the forearms. Now, those of you whose arms are still straight, good. Yokiko, reach through the fingertips. No elbows, no elbows. Reach, reach, reach. Kick the dorsal in. Try not to, and this is challenging when the arms are overhead, not to activate the brain. Okay, now just from here, take the arms, those of you who have them down, either overhead in Urdhva Skasan or Baddha Hasta. Did you all change the cross? Okay, And then change the cross if you haven't already. Those of you who did the other side, extend the arms again. Okay, so we're just concluding with the arms overhead in Urdhva Hastasana and really charge through the fingertips. It's challenging to reach through the fingertips without hardening the throat, without hardening the eyes. And so much of what we teach is, can you do this, but not this, pointing out the obstacles on the way. Okay, my friends. Now take the arms down by the side. Place the feet flat on the floor, parallel, and then roll to your right or left side. So when we saw each other last on Tuesday, we did the Paryankasans with all the leg positions, straight legs, then cross-legged, and bound. And then Virasana legs, which is considered the more classical pose. But today what I wanted to show you, and then I know that we've done this before. So typically when we do the Paryankasans, the blocks are on the high side. Okay, now this is an option, but I want to show today the tented, the two bolster tent situation. So let me just go over this. All right, so as you know, you start with the pelvis on the floor. And it's hard to keep the bricks down, especially if they were foam. So I like to place my thumbs on it just to settle it down. The first brick, this guy, goes into my thoracic. The second one will receive the back of my head. Now I know, and many people do need this, a blanket in addition to that block that receives the head. So that's the setup if you're using the blocks. Let me just show it quickly. So I want to go through all this because this is such an important sequence. Gita has taught this many times. So you start with the legs bent and then opening this chest. You know, it's high. The blocks are high. Then you can extend one leg and then the other. Again, arms are out to the side, palms up. And then we'll move into the cross-legged, change the cross, and then we'll go to Baddha Konasana. Of course, we're going to spend a longer time in. Now, to come up, you lead with your chest in that manner. Now, I understand that for a lot of people, oh, the brick, it's too harsh. It feels like it's digging into you. So there's another option. So some of you I know will do it this way. Now, of course, mind you, if it's too high, the high, you can always go to the medium side. That's always a possibility. We've gone over that. Now, what some people don't know is that you can do all what I just showed, all the leg positions in Paryankasana, which we're doing, with a two bolster, I call it tent. So they're slightly angled, and some people will still need a blanket to support their neck. Okay, so this one takes a little finessing. So how many of you have two bolsters and you're going to try it this way? Because if you don't have two bolsters, then I'm not, well, I should show it anyway. So it looks like no one has it.
Do you need to have the same bolster, or can you have different kind of bolsters?
Well, you know, it could, I don't know, Rahel, because I've only done it with two of the same, but I think if you had one cylindrical, one standard, it might work. The problem with the tented thing is that it often collapses if your entry into it is not precise. Let me just show. Rahel, you can try it. The reason why I'm doing it this way is because some people really cannot stand that digging in. So this is like, it's like you're lying back. Oh, feels good. I actually need a smidge of a blanket. Peggy, I was thinking for you, but you usually use the blanket underneath that second brick for your head. You see? And then you can take the arms either. See, it's very high, so the arms down by the side often need a support of a blanket under one hand and then the other. But I'm showing it because it's much softer. So Rahel, you can try it because you have it. Otherwise, everyone I can see is doing, oh, Young Kuei, you're doing it. But Young Kuei, get it so it's angular. Yeah, angular. So it's a little bit more like, it's like a upside down V. Yeah. That looks good. Donna, that's good. You could do it that way with one, yeah. All right, so I want this pose to be part of your regular practice. Polly, good. We're keeping the legs straight. We're doing all the leg positions, and we're going to do the classic way virasana. But remember, those of you who have knee issues, you can return to this one with straight legs. Lumna, the cork ones are a little bit higher, just know that, note to self. Okay, these look good. Yonkwe, that's a possibility, yeah. Okay, these look good because many of you are showing me in profile and I can see how the apex of the pose, which is the metrics of this pose, is the chest. And then just put your hands on those pectoral muscles underneath the collarbones and spread your skin. Good, Andy. Yeah, hook the thumb, spread the skin. You're really good, Gail. They're opening the chest. Try not to lift the shoulders up to the ears. Peggy, you can always make that same neck adjustment, spreading the skin. Make sure your cervical spine is elongating away from the trapezius. Take height underneath the head if you need it. Lubna, that's good. Now it's interesting, Lubna, you're getting a beautiful lift in the chest. So when you're on a lot of height, the cork bricks, sometimes there could be additionally a little strain in the pectoral muscles. And those of you who are teachers, it's not uncommon to put a little bit of blanket support underneath the back of the hand because it's too much of a strain, right? The chest is so lifted. So just be mindful, right? And keep churning everyone, Youngkwei and everybody, Yubna, everyone, turn the skin of the upper biceps. So here's the thing, guys. This is a really good, it's a jewel of an instruction. When you adjust the shoulders, the upper arms, you adjust the neck. When you adjust the neck, you adjust the brain, you adjust the head. And then actually when you adjust the head, you adjust your mind. So it's an interesting sort of an equation. So the arms and the shoulders affect the neck, which affects the head, which affects the mind. So making just the right adjustments in these poses, be it a little bit of prop, a little bit more, a little bit less, really matter. Be mindful of the skin, Peggy, especially if you're coming back into it of your neck. All right, now when you're ready, you'll do cross-legged. Same position of the chest, change the leg position. So this is what Gita had taught some years ago, all the Paryankasanas, because some people were feeling, oh, you have to be able to do virasana in order to do Paryankasana. Not the case. Lubna, make sure your throat is relaxed. Good, that there's no strain on the sides of the throat. Turning the arms, remember, from the inside out as the backs of the hands press. If it's getting too much on anyone's back, switch over to the side-by-side blocks, low blocks that we did last week and earlier this week on Tuesday. Change the cross. These look good. So this is worthwhile to, do, I would say, as, it's true, as we get older, the thoracic spine becomes more vulnerable to rounding. So it's important to do these chest opener work, at least once a week, and arm work for that matter. Change the cross if you haven't already. And then in a moment, we'll place the soles of the feet as we did the Viparita Karani together. Soles of the feet. Those of you without knee problems can bring the heels in close to the perineum. Press the feet, good, and widen the thighs away. So you get a twofer. As much as it is for the chest, this is also for the legs, for the outer hips and inner thighs. Okay, so now, before we do the classic way, take the feet flat on the floor, hold the sides of the mat. Now, remember, you want to come up, leading with the chest, the head is last to follow. So press the feet down strongly, lead with your chest, good, and up you come, stretch out the legs. Okay, now those of you who are doing the classic one with the legs in Virasana will go back. Well, I'll show you what that one looks like. Others of you will do the same exact thing with straight legs. You won't do the Virasana. For that matter, you could pick any, the straight leg, the Baddha Konasana, or the Swastikasana legs. So this is the classic one. Let me just show. I'm going to sit in Virasana. I'm a big believer in sitting in Virasana on a block because it's a rare bird that can sit in Virasana without letting their inner knees turn in. It's rare. I rarely see that. So hence the reason to take a block, low or even medium side, and focus on turning the inner knees to the outer knees. Then you go back to your setup. But I'm going to just add one thing today. So over time, it's wonderful at the wall. So we'll take the arms overhead. And then today we're going to lift the pelvis up, which really opens, again, the twofer. You get those beautiful frontal groins to open. Notice how when I lift the pelvis up, the hands come closer to the floor. And I do this seesaw action. The buttocks don't need to ever hit the floor. So that's what you'll do. And then we'll stay for a while and come up in the same manner. Remember, those of you who are not doing the Virasana position, do straight legs. So you start with bent and then extend one leg and then the other. So I want this to become de rigueur. This is kind of a go-to chest opening sequence. Good, Julie. Just stay in that manner. Yeah. All right. So you're either in Virasana, that's good. Young Koi, focusing on pressing the feet, outer shins, inner knees to outer knees, and then you're going to go back. So those of you who can take a comfortable sitting Virasana, please do so. Polly, press the tops of both knees down, particularly the left, because it's flying away from the floor. Okay, Donna, when you're ready. That's good. That's it, Lubna. Go back. Angie, that's fine. Now, some of you were here Monday, Lubna, when Mary Beth showed it at the wall, I believe. Or maybe she didn't show it, I just saw it. So that's another possibility, Lubna, for your armpits. So if you were positioned the other way, Lubna, okay, that's fine. Peggy, it looks like your wall is behind you. Yokiko, that's good. If your fingertips, flat palm doesn't need to come to the wall. Fingertips reaching, that's good, Rahel. Now lift the pelvis up, Rahel. Yes, and aim to get the arms closer to the floor. And do that a few times, what I call a seesaw action. A seesaw action. Donna, it looks like the brick at the back of your head is kind of on a diagonal. Maybe that was intentional, I'm not sure. Okay. Yankui, excellent. Press the feet, lift the pelvis up, enjoy those frontal groins, good, Peggy, opening. Yankui, good. You got your hands to the floor. And then the butt, go back and forth. It's a beautiful thing to do, especially when you can reach toward the wall. So this is something that is really good. Donna, you have a lot of movement in the shoulders. Just be mindful of compacting your outer arms. That's an instruction for Donna, and not overarching in your lower spine. Lubna, this is really good for your armpits. Good. Okay. Otherwise, the arms can stay. Now, Andy and Polly, you can take the arms overhead and hold in Baddha Hasta, because you don't have the support. Julie can hold your arms in Baddha Hasta as well. That's good, Peggy. Okay, these look really nice. I'm really pleased with the shapes, Yankui, on this. And remind yourself that the pelvis need not touch the floor in Paryankasana. Oftentimes the cork or the hut are even higher than the wood bricks. All right, now I'm going to take the Virasana people out first because they've been here. So place the hands in the arches of the feet. Now strongly press the feet. Press the outer shins. Lead, good. Yokiko with your chest. And then slowly come out, that's it. Crossing your ankles and stretching out your legs into Dandasana. All right. Now we're going to do Parshvattanasana, which we didn't do on Tuesday, but I want to just address the armpits for a bit. And I really like this one. Could we do Gomukhasana on a column? Yes, but the floor acts like a column. So you all know this. We'll lie on I got to clean up this room. It's a mess. You'll lie on your right side. and then watch. I'm going to show without the blanket. The blanket is placed because most people's head does this. The ear, the head is angular and it drops, but let me show without a blanket. So I'm lying on my right side and I turn the palm up. Why do I turn the palm up? To turn that skin, inner to outer skin. Then I maintain the skin turning and turn the palm down. So it's a little bit of a plunge here. You can see how my ear is closer to the floor at right ear than the left. So I like to slide the blanket in, slide the blanket in. So now you can see my head is not at an angle. All right, then I'll take the blanket out. Then I'll keep turning the skin with the palm up, and then I bend my arm and I bring it into the top arm Gomukhasana position that we taught and did a lot last week. Let me show you from a posterior view. Hold on. So I'm back here again, with or without blanket. Most of the time people need a blanket, and I move the trapezius down. So this is the top arm in Gomukhasana. If anyone gets hip pain, you can raise this top leg, insert a bolster, or you can just keep it airborne like this as I'm doing. It actually is quite nice to spread the top of the sacrum. Okay, so if you have a bolster and want to put it between the legs, that's an option. Go slowly. I want everyone to extend the arm out with or without blanket. Turn the palm up in order to turn the skin, and then turn the palm down. That's good, Polly. So you're just sidelined out. So many of you don't need the blanket. Yeah, remember you don't want the right ear to be too high, but you don't want it to be too low. Okay, that's good. A little bit of, most people need a little bit of blanket. Peggy, you have the blanket. Yukiko, I don't think you need it. Yeah. All right, now use the floor, right? Because you're on the floor, and make sure that outer armpit, right? The floor helps to turn the skin as the palm did, facing up. And that armpit is now making a flush contact, outer right armpit with the floor. The top arm in Gomukhasana. Okay, then you can take the blanket out, bend the elbow, and then take your hands to your trapezius, the right hand, and move the skin down. Now find out, everyone, in bending your right elbow, did the right, Polly, that's really good. Did the right elbow come closer to the screen? So your tricep is centered. So I'm showing you what you're doing now. You see the top arm in Gomukhasana. Do you see how it's the same thing, only a different way, right? The center of that tricep, which will actually do something fun with the neck sling. So it's the bottom arm, Julie. No, the right arm, not the left arm. It's good. The right arm, the right hand is touching that. That's it. But don't let the elbow come forward. And then, yes, everyone just try lifting your top leg and feel how that spreads the sacrum. Now, if this was more for hip therapeutics, we would insert bolster, Rahel, like you've done. Beautiful. And actually, it's not just hip, it's back as well. Back and hip. We put the bolster in and you can feel the spreading of the sacrum. So you can see how therapeutics, you don't have to memorize anything. It comes from actually the actual pose and understanding the pose. These look wonderful. Can we change sides? When you're ready. Okay, so you start with the arm extended, turn the palm up. Why? To turn the skin. Then use blanket or not. The two sides may be different. Sometimes you need it on the right and not on the left, or vice versa. Then you will take the top arm into Gomukhasana. There was a while during the COVID period, I remember teaching this before Adho Mukha Svanasana, which is we're not doing it right away, but it's one of the reasons. Now, Polly, find out in bending that left arm, don't let the elbow go forward to the chairs, because the two sides can be completely different. But stay a bit of time with the straight arm. Yeah, straight arm. That's it, Yanquay. The other arm can be alongside your hip. Versus using it to balance, because actually it's a three-fer right now. You're getting also some abdominal work in, being on your side. For how that looks really good. These look good. Yes, if you want to raise that top leg is fine. If you have a bolster nearby, that's fine. So this is a way you can, do things in a different way. Both legs up is even more abdominal, Donna. Yeah, what you're doing. It looks like you have both legs up, like a shalabhasana. That's like a sideline shalabhasana. Interesting. Good for the oblique muscles, Donna. Okay, and then let's come out. Now I have a belt, and we didn't do this on Tuesday. So the classes, are similar, but they're, always different. And let's see. You're going to take your belt. We've done this before. And I'm just going to get in the screen. So you'll stand up when you do this. You'll err on tighter than looser. And the belt is being used for the thoracic and cervical spine, but also the belt turns the skin from the inside out. So you want it tighter than normal. It's a little bit too loose. So I would say it's at least, could be a little bit less. I would say it's the width here of your armpit chest, not so much the shoulders because that's too wide. So if you see my loop, I'm taking it to measures my armpit chest, and then watch. I'm taking it into the pit of the elbow or a smidge higher, and then I'm going to. You'll stand. I'm just kneeling it so I can stay in the screen, and I'll adjust the camera. So I want it tight because I want my triceps to be beside my ears, right? So this is great Urdhva Hastasana because the belt turns my arms. Skin, and then watch. And then I'm going to bend my arms like a sledgehammer, and now both hands are moving that trapezius skin down. Additionally, see the frontal view, how the triceps are perfectly centered. Now, if I do this, make a fist with the forearms parallel, you can see the shape of Shirshasana arm position. Okay, so you're going to be doing this standing. I mean, you don't want to stand on your feet. You could do it kneeling, but kneeling can be uncomfortable. All right, so let's see the sledgehammer, what I call it, with the arms starting in Urdhva Hastasana. So you can adjust the screen so I'm able to see you. Make air on tighter. So remember, it's the armpit chest. So if you've never done it, then it might air on a little bit looser. So it goes, Andy and Polly, around the back of your head. I think if you stand up, for many of you, you'll actually get a better pose because you'll have access to your legs. I only showed it kneeling because I'd have to adjust my camera and I didn't want to. Okay, keep your arms straight, Julie, that's good. Have the belt so that it's turning the skin. Okay, now turn in profile, bend your arms in the same manner I did, bend at the elbow, place your hands, yes. And now Rahel, you use your hands to move the trapezius, but don't push the abdomen forward. Lubna, no abdomen coming forward. So Lubna, do you see how the upper arms are coming forward? Yeah. Okay, I'm glad that we did this, Peggy, that's excellent. You're quite good. So I know for some of you whose back is thoracic spine is mobile, Donna. Yes, armpits mobile. This is, relatively easy. But for someone whose armpits are a little bit tighter, a little bit more restricted, take your time, Andy. Polly, I'm really pleased with the way that looks. The triceps are centered and they're not pitching forward. Okay, now frontally again, may I see? Yeah, I just need I'm sorry, can you adjust your camera so I can see because it's breaking at your upper chin. Okay, you can kneel. You can maybe kneeling versus coming out of it. Okay. Do you feel that beautiful stretch in the triceps? Yeah, that's good. Now, again, so you're going from here, I don't have the strap on, and then palms are together, and then move the trapezius down and feel the triceps nicely centered. We didn't do this last week. We did a lot of the arm work and Urdhva Namaskar. It'll be interesting. In a moment, we're going to do Urdhva Namaskar, and usually it gets better having done that. Okay, now take the belt off. All right, let's review. And I will say that you could, some of you who just, this is an interesting way to just contemplate. So if that was hard, and it might have been, then I would contemplate or ponder, well, maybe I needed to do something easier with movement before. Hence, take your belt, undo the loop, and we're doing what we did last week and Tuesday. So this, everyone enjoyed it. I have to adjust the camera now. All right, now I won't. Okay, so watch. I took the belt to the top of the thigh, and then I do have to adjust it. Hold on. Yeah. All right, watch. So here, remember movement to the top. Remember, look, none of this, right? No thighs coming forward, to the shoulder blades, to the buttocks, up to the shoulder blades, overhead to the roots of the thighs. Overhead, in line with the shoulder blades, to the buttocks, in line with the shoulder blades, over the head to the roots of the thighs, okay? A few times like that. So for those of you who found Lubna, that's, I call it the sledgehammer thing we just did, this might have been more wise to do before. Okay, now go. With belt, with movement. Now, some of you, to make it a little bit more challenging, inch in, make the strap less wide. So you're holding the strap with thumb and index fingers. Go a little bit narrower to make it a little bit easy, a little bit more challenging. Polly, pause at the shoulder blades, take the head back. Show me in profile and frontally. Good, Donna. Young Quay, that's good. Just don't push the abdomen and thighs forward. Okay, these look good. With movement, do a few times. That's it, Rahel, up and over. You can do it fluidly, and then with the velomas, so to speak, with the pauses. That's good.
Ronnie, this is killing my shoulder.
Then Andy, you know what? We're going to do Parsvahastasana, which will be much better for you. What the movement is killing it, or the sledgehammer one?
All of it.
Okay.
My shoulder just doesn't go that way anymore.
I understand completely. Andy, everyone continue on. Andy, do this for me. Just take the belt, and belt your wrists. So that, and just be here.
Okay.
As an interim, okay? Polly, watch the head coming forward. So just as an aside, when someone has a shoulder issue, the arms overhead is a way moving along. Anyone with shoulder issues should just usually work, the arms remain down by the hips, and then we'll actually do Parsvahastasana in a moment. Okay. All right, we're going to finish up with this one. Andy, you can do dog pose though. All right, now, good. All right, then what you could remind yourself, Ruben, is after this one, you could go back to that sledgehammer. But we're going to move on. I want everyone to do Utkatasana and see if you can take your arms in Urdhva Namaskar. So Urdhva Namaskar, as you all know, is the arms are up, Urdhvastasana. You bring the palms together, and then you'll sit down, Utkatasana, Uttanasana, step or jump back, dog pose, Adho Mukha Svanasana. Okay, let's take it now, having warmed up the arms, having kicked the dorsal spine in. All right, so we're doing Utkat first, Tadasana. Feet can be apart, arms up, should be easy breezy. Andy, you don't have to do arms up, yeah. And now Urdhva Namaskar arms, take the hands together. Now, keep the feet broad and long, bending at your hips. Move the shins back. Take Utkatasana, fierce or zigzag pose. We did it a lot last week. Remember from Warrior One, abdomen back, Young Quay. Go down more, Young Quay, but keep the chest upright. Now, exhale, bend forward, Uttanasana. Jump back or step back or jump back. Notice if you're stepping back, which leg. Take enough distance. Now we're doing dog pose, Gail, between the feet and the hands to elongate your spine. Remember all the work we did last week on elongation of the spine. This is part 2 of that chapter, moving the thoracic in. Now move the chest toward the leg side. But remember, especially those of you who are more mobile in your shoulders and armpits, You have to pair that with resisting the forearms away from the floor. Backs of the knees open, no knees, no elbows. Make your back body like a blackboard, flat. Lubna, this is good. So I'm looking at those of you who are showing me in profile, we don't want to see an angle between the upper chest and the upper arms. Now, pump action, come forward into a high chaturanga, pause, lift the abdomen away from the floor. If it's too much on the arms, then just rest. And now slowly go back to dog. So you're just into a, yeah, and Andy, just like a high plank. Go back and forth, movement, coming forward, getting the body parallel to the floor like warrior 3, tailbone in, and now exhale, go back. Good, pump. This is a wonderful way to pump the thoracic. So you're coming forward into a high plank, tailbone in, collarbones forward, heel back. Now slowly go back. Good, that's it. And now stay. See if you can move the chest toward the legs, sink those heels down, and enjoy the openness of your thoracic and armpits. Okay, now walk your feet toward your hands. All right, we'll get to just when we come to do dog pose with the feet on the blocks. Those of you step back, right side will change. And inhale, up you come. Andy, this will be good for you. So we're doing a sequence at the wall, which is very helpful for everyone's arms, but particularly in shoulder therapeutics. So I have my hand in line with my shoulder. It's important not that the hand be forward of it, because if your hand is forward of it, the skin doesn't turn from the inside out. The first position is fingers are pointing upward. I stay for a bit of time, then I'll take the fingers, point the hand backward, 45-degree angle, and then the fingers will face down. In doing the 3 arm positions, I want you to observe the shoulder blades on the back body. Try not to lift the shoulder up to the ear. All right, so let's start in the first position, hand in line. Some of you may not be able to get it in line with the shoulder, but further back, but not forward. All right, let me see. Start with a slightly bent arm though. The reason why I have people start with a slightly bent arm in this sequence is so that they have better access to turning the skin of the right inner arm. You can stand with the feet hip width apart. Okay, now observe the right shoulder. Don't let it hike up to the ear. Now slowly begin to straighten the arm so there's no right elbow, no elbow. You'll feel as the skin of the tricep muscle hug the bone in that action. Now, contemplate your right shoulder blade on your back body. Feel the right shoulder blade. Yes, it's possible to take the left hand and palpate it, but that right shoulder blade should feel snug. Okay, now you're going to turn the palm backward at a 45-degree angle, but again, start with the legs, start with the arms slightly bent, slightly bent. Thighs, yeah, so the fingers aren't pointing down yet. They're off to the side. Yeah, Young Quay, yeah. Those of you who have more hyperextension in the elbow, soften the elbow. I see a lot of the hyperextension. Yeah, Young Quay, yours was a little bit hyperextended there, right? Just soften at the joint. I'm glad you got it back here, Kiko. Now observe, move the shoulder away from the ear if you can. Now again, close your eyes and contemplate, ponder your right shoulder blade. So now the shoulder blade is likely to feel in a slightly different position than what it did with the fingers pointing up. All right. Now turn the fingers pointing down. Say if you need to let go of the wall and bend the arm, that's fine. And then take it back in line with the shoulder with the fingers pointing down. Start with the slightly bent elbow in order to turn the skin and then extend it. Of course, you can overdo a Young Quay better. Yeah, so that you don't want that angular. Yeah, that's too much. Exactly what you're doing. Gail, could be a little closer to the wall. I think it might be better. Yeah, and hand no higher than shoulder. Yukiko, be a little bit more observant today than I was Tuesday. Yukiko, watch also the hyperextension of the elbow. So soften a smidge the right joint. Okay, otherwise I think these look good. All right, now change that. Now I just want to point out something. Some people often get some nerve involvement when they do this, especially when they extend the arm fully. It often has to do with the ulnar nerve. Then it's probably not best to have the palm flush on the wall. So what you could do is do it near, you'd have to make a fist, something like this, a fist, and just have the knuckles, because there's something about, the palm being firmly against the wall can aggravate that ulnar nerve. It happens every once in a while. I've had it personally myself, so it's just something to point out. Actually, the very best thing, the way to do it is if you can have something on the wall that you can hold as a handle that's in line with your shoulder. So your hand is not flat, so the circumference pressing in, but rather softer, and then it doesn't bother the ulnar nerve. I point that out because I saw some people abandon the pose, and I suspect that might have happened. Okay, change sides when you're ready. Ardha Hastasana to the left. All 3 hand positions, and I just want to alert you that we're going to use, just alert your minds to, we're going to do these different hand positions. Make sure everybody took a look at your left hand. Have it no higher than the shoulder, but no lower. It can be slightly behind the shoulder, but not forward of it. And know why. Protect your back by standing with the feet hip width apart. Fingers up. See that, Luna, be a little closer to the wall, Gail, a little closer, because your left armpit, yeah. Done quite good. All right, so you're taking a mental snapshot of your left shoulder blade. Like if you could trace it now on a piece of tracing paper. I don't think they have tracing paper anymore, but imagine you could trace your shoulder blade. Now, as you turn the hand outward 45 degrees, if you now tracing that left shoulder blade, don't lift the left shoulder up. You can almost feel how the bottom side of the scapula of the shoulder blade is moving a smidge toward the wall. It's a different placement of the shoulder blade. So each of these 3 positions has something to offer the shoulder blades. Okay, now turn the palm down. Fingers pointing in the direction. Again, start with the bent arm because it turns the skin. Without lifting the shoulder up, extend the arm. Try not to hyperextend the elbow. Get the hand a little bit too high. So now, with the fingers pointing down. Okay, and then take the hand off. Andy, I hope that was helpful for your arm and shoulder, because typically, generally is given in shoulder therapeutics. Now you're going to place the blocks in this manner. You will need a wall for this. If you don't have a wall, don't worry about it. You'll just place your hands on the blocks. It makes it hard when it's not at a diagonal. So I'm putting the blocks on a diagonal, high side. We did this on Tuesday. And then you're going to set the hands on the blocks and come into dog pose with your fingers pointing down to the floor. All right. If anyone has pain or discomfort in their elbows when you're doing this, come down and then simply just turn the palms out on the blocks on the low side. It's hard when the foam blocks may not stay up against the wall. So the blocks are now on the high side. Lubna, that's good. With the fingers pointing down, that last position. That's it, Lubna. It's harder to open the armpit chest in this one. Good, young Koi, go up. The hell, that's it. Polly, be careful of this foam sliding. Peggy, I know I can't see you from this angle, but I assume that you've got the blocks there. Okay, good, good, good. Andy, if it's too much on the shoulder, just come down and have the blocks flat, low side with the palms turned out. Young Koi, that's excellent. Really good. Okay. Donna, beautiful. I know some of you I can't see on the side, so I can't tell. And I know that's hard because of the wall situation and the camera. Peggy, yeah, that's good. I can see the blocks now. Young Koi, beautiful. Yukiko, beautiful. Okay, these look very nice. We don't do this as often as we do with the hands turned out. Okay. Good. All right, now just set the knees down on the floor. Good. Rest in child's pose with the arms extended forward. Polly, take bolsters in front, put your forearms on if you can't get your buttocks to your knee. So now full extension of the arms forward, having done what we did. Child's pose, Adho Mukha Virasana. No elbows. Turn the skin from the inside out and make your back body like a blackboard. You're going to put your hands on the blocks so that the shoulder blades can move away from the ceiling. That's good. Polly, so again, I would think more height underneath your forearms to get the, when you build up the height on the front side, the buttocks will drop more. So maybe, yeah. So if you don't have two bolsters, which I think you need, or even a chair seat, that's better. Okay. All right, so now we're going to do, we worked a little bit on this on Tuesday. So this is the plan. I want you to, we're going to do Trikonasana and then Pavrita Trikonasana. But the interesting thing today is we're going to do all the same, the very same hand positions that we did in Parshvahastasana, hand out the wall, with when the arm is down, in this case, right arm with them, when you do the right side in Trikonasana. So the tricky thing is there's only three options to have a flat palm on the brick. The high side, which I doubt anyone needs, the medium side, which many of you will, and oftentimes between the lowest side and the medium side, that's where someone needs a paperback book. So if you have, if you keep a paperback book in the space that you do yoga, or it doesn't have to be paperback, a book maybe an inch, half-inch thick. All right, so let me just show you before you go and get it, what I'm doing. So watch, I'm going to show you on the right side. I'm going to show you posteriorly so you can see my hand. So we've been doing the side lateral poses always to the right first. Okay, so I'm going to press the left foot down, raise the right arm up and reach out, getting the length as we explored last week for the spine. And then, because this side, and it's also a function of hamstring, my right side is tighter than the left. So I'm putting the block on the medium side. I put the block close to the right shin, not in line with the foot. And now the full palm of my hand is pressing down. Then the left hand on the hip revolves the chest away. And then here's a wonderful opportunity why we're doing this. I can use the flat palm to press the right hand into and use my arms to move the shoulder blades onto the back body. So we're using the arms to access the shoulder blades, okay? Then we'll turn the palm up. I bring the hand back onto the hip, take the second position, reach away. And then finally, this is faster than we would do it, fingers pointing backward, revolve the chest and reach away. So basically we're staying on the right side for 3 different hand positions, and then we'll change sides and do the left. I wanted to point that out so we don't have to come up, down, which is just kind of annoying. All right, so Trikonasana, Polly, go wider in the feet. So one of the things we learned last week is that in order to get the maximum length of the spine, you need a fairly wide stance. Okay, so with that said, have your block and or book placed now beside your right shin so you don't have to reach for it and get it once you're in the pose. That's the very best way. All right, so block or block and book go, you see it's not anywhere near my foot. It's right beside my shin. All right, so now you're in Utthita Hasta Padasana. Compact the hips, lengthen the spine, reach through the arms. Now, turn the right leg from the root of the thigh, Parshva Hasta Padasana. Notice how the trunk has not moved. All right, now, press into your right foot, reach down into the right leg, left leg. Reach out with the left hand and slowly to lengthen that underbelly. Reach, 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 and flat palm to the brick. Flat palm. So now it got better that first time. Now I'm able to bring the hand to the low brick. Now with the left hand on the hip, everyone. So in order to revolve the chest away from the floor. Put the left hand on the hip. Find the shoulder blades. Pause there, chin away from the sternum. Now, extend the top left arm up as you press firmly down into the right hand, reach up. So this way you're using the arms now to turn. You've turned once already when the hand was on the hip. Turn again. Extend down into the right arm. Reach up with the top left arm. Now bring the left hand back to the hip. Take position 2 of the hand. Turn the palm at a 45-degree angle. Same thing, revolve the chest. Polly, watch the right knee. It's rotating in. Revolve, revolve, revolve. Okay, now lift the top arm, extend down into the right arm, lift up. Beautiful, Rahel. Move the arms further away. You become one with your shoulder blades. That skin is cinching in. Beautiful. Left hand on hip. Fingers go backward now for a third and final. Good, Lubna. Extend down, turn, and now reach up. Make it a progression. That's it, Young Quay. Good. Okay, these look good. Whether you're showing me posterior, anterior, many of you have your chest facing me, or the back, I can see both ways. Now inhale up you come. Those were excellent. Okay, Polly, if you're struggling with your hamstring of the right leg, then you can put the block on the inside of the foot. No, I don't want
I have it on the high side because I just can't reach it.
That's fine, Polly. The foam is a little bit harder to work with because it's more spongy and tends to move underneath you. Okay, I just don't want you to struggle. Okay, left side, same exact thing. Get the block situated beside the left shin. Isn't this like your favorite way to do Uttita Trikonasana? It's a beautiful thing. You could also, just as those of you with any hip issues, remember what I taught several weeks ago, the angular way. Remember? The angular way, this way. One leg, right leg forward, left leg back, and you could do the same thing. You see? Same exact thing, angularly. So Polly, if anyone's their hips are bothered, please do an angular Uttita Trikonasana. Okay, to the left you go, have the block beside the left hip. If this hamstring is more pliable, likely, the thing is you may not need the block on the same side. Right leg could be completely different than left. Extend the arms. Turn the left foot out, right foot in. Okay, now extend down into the right foot. Reach out, get length, go slowly. Reach, reach, reach. Get this whole left side to elongate. And then touch down. Right hand on hip. Revolve. Lubna, remember to move the buttock. That left buttock needs to go forward to the plants. Those of you who have your posterior facing me, don't let the buttock, no buttock left behind. Come on, move the center, that medial buttock forward to open up that left groin. Good, Donna. Now extend down into the left hand, reach up with the top arm. Here's the principle. Use your arms. Use your arms to bring the shoulder blades flat on the back. Use your arms to turn the chest away from the floor. Okay, now bring the right hand onto the hip. Position 2, palm turned out. Same exact thing. Hand on hip, revolve, extend down, reach up, go, go. That's it. Good. Not too far back, Julie, with the top arm. I know there's a tendency to do that. A lot of people do that. Lubna, chin away from the sternum, move the trapezius skin toward your waist. All right, hand on hip. Keep that left leg straight. Now turn the palm back, fingers pointing backward. The interesting thing about the third and final hand position, and I don't know if you're feeling this, but the shoulder blades feels very flat. And we're doing this way in Trikonasana, so that revolve triangle. And then reach up with the top arm, use the arms to turn. Use the arms, good Gail, turn. Use the arms to turn the trunk. That's the principle. Beautiful. Feel how with the palm facing backward in this manner, like dog pose, how that shoulder blade feels long. Okay, these look very good indeed. And Quay, Rahel, and now inhale up you come. All right, now we're going to try something that we didn't do. I didn't think of it on Tuesday, and I wish I had. So you're going back to the strap thing. All right. Now, here's the thing. I'm going to teach you this today, but I want you to see how this will inform revolve triangle, which is a tricky pose. We did it on Tuesday with the chair. Today, we're not going to do it with the chair because I add this thing. So watch. I'm going back to the, gee whiz. This is when I miss Steve, because it's like, yeah, I'm obsessed by the camera. All right, so watch. So I had my, okay, I'm going back to the thing that we did earlier, but this time, look, my feet are underneath me. That's a good thing. My chest is facing forward. But now I'm aiming to get, as I turn to the right, I want to sense my whole chest parallel to this wall. That means, and you will feel, when you go to the right, the left side of your body stays back. Bring it around. Oh, here I go. I'm turning to the left. Oh, that right side wants to stay back. Turn, 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 using my arms. Now, the beautiful thing about doing this turn in Thoracic, so here's the physics, which, you know, I love science about this, and geometry. So when you're turning to the right, to the left, and your legs are underneath you, which is Thoracic, it's easier to make the body flush to the wall that you're facing. When you're in revolve triangle, where the legs are asymmetrical, all bets are off. Does that make sense? Yeah, shake your head. If you don't know what I'm talking about, don't worry. I'll explain after. So this is a fantastic thing to do before revolve triangle, because you have something to propriocept now. You have to bring this side. So when you go to the right, you know this side doesn't want to move around. When you go to the left, the right side. Now I want you to do it with the strap. So stand with the feet apart, can put a block between the legs. Okay, now plant the seeds for your most magnificent revolve triangle in a moment from now. So
Do you want us to do it at the wall or
no,
freestanding?
there's no need to do it at the wall, Polly. In fact, you're going to turn toward a wall, assuming, you know, there's a wall there, okay? So now plant the feet strong. You got to use your feet. Block is optional, Peggy, yeah. All right, now, keeping your pelvis is not, it's undisturbed. Turn to your right. And then you see, the more you turn to the right, the feet don't turn. The feet don't turn, the pelvis may turn a smidge. The left side wants to stay back. Look at the wall now in front of you. Can you make your body as though we're up against the wall? Up against the wall. The arms are straight. Look, Lubna, observe that you're leaning back, my friend. Yes, go wider in the belt. Okay, I'm really glad we're doing this. Okay, this is so interesting. Now come back. All right, one more time. Make your legs like reach down, like your legs are tree trunks. Reach up. Okay, now don't disturb the legs, the feet. The right hip will move slightly to the left, but I want the whole chest to face the wall that you're facing in front of you. Okay? All right, that's better. You can take the arms, if the arms are coming forward, take the arms further apart. Okay, keep the neck long. Okay, now come back to center. This is better. Let's repeat again to the right. So let's see the right side again. So make like your legs were like, they don't shake the legs. Reach up, extend down, go up, and now turn. Know that the left side wants to stay back like this, Lubna. Bring the left shoulder blade around. Lubna, watch. Okay, yeah, we'll work on this after class. I'll tell you exactly what's happening. The thighs are coming forward, the arms are coming forward. So make a little bit wider in the arms, particularly maybe that right arm. Go wider. All right, let's see, Andy. Rahel, you can, I think, go narrower. All right, now go to the left, Donna, you're good. Looks good. Arms, so I don't want the arms to come forward. I want the back of the skull to be aligned with the tailbone. Yeah, Donna, that's good. It's symmetrical really from the waist down. Okay, now at ease with the strap. All right, now we planted the seeds for the most beautiful revolve triangle. So we're going to do without a chair. Polly, if you need anyone who needs to use the chair to put their left forearm on, we're doing the right leg first, then of course, by all means do so. Those of you who were here Tuesday when we did it several weeks ago. Otherwise, we're taking it to the final pose. So you all know revolve triangle. So I'm just gonna show you from a posterior view. So watch. So this time I'm turning the right leg out, but because it's different than Trikonasana, it's not a side lateral, my chest has to come around now. I don't have the strap with me, but I can pretend I did. Right hand comes onto the hip, left arm, it doesn't have to reach up. In fact, I prefer it to reach out. As I extend the left arm forward, the hips move back and then touch down onto that block again. And this is where this is challenging for me. This left shoulder blade is moving that way. I'm just showing you. I'm taking my right hand and I'm moving it in. And then I do the same thing I asked you to do in triangle. I extend down into my left arm, reach up with my top right arm. So you see all the pieces that we have thus worked so hard to get to all begin to manifest now. All right, so revolved triangle, tricky pose, but we've planted the seeds in order to be here now. All right, we take it to the right. All right, with me, join the feet. Bring the hands to the level of the chest. Jump the feet at least 4 feet apart. Now, remember the belt. You just had it there, right? We had the belt. We did all that work. So now use the arms as you turn the right leg out, turn the left leg in. Take a look at your screen, right? And just the back of the, see how upright, tall in the spine. Right hand on hip. Left arm reaches forward. So opposite leg to opposite arm. Right arm is forward. Polly, bring the chair on the right side of you, not in front of your right foot, on the side. Just flip the chair when the cat gets off of it. Now reach out with the left arm. Place the hand, if you can, flat palm, good Rahel. Now find out, as you saw me do, I have long arms to bring the right hand to touch, that's it, Rahel. And cut the back ribs down. Young Quay, too high on the brick, my friend. You have a lot of mobility. Young Quay, you can bring it lower, even lower, Young Quay, the lower side. Flat palm for you. That's it, Young Quay, good, because your shoulder is now aligned with the hip. Now extend down into the left arm and reach up. And then tell me, are you getting the best revolved triangle ever? Get those shoulder blades flat. Okay, now to come up, press the feet down, inhale, use your arms to come up. Polly, so what I'm saying about the chair, maybe it's my words are not registering. So when you're using the chair, it's not in front of the foot. I just want to
Honey, it's not you, it's me. I'm conceptually challenged as to where to put it.
It's no problem. I understand. So this is, it would go off to the, so here's my seat of the chair, and this would be your left leg. So it's not in, the chair is not in front of my left leg, but off to the side. So here's the seat, Polly, and here's my left shin. Maybe that's a better description. Okay. All right. Let me see the left side now. Everyone, same pose. Okay. The question is, did you feel your shoulder blades flat on the back like you did when we took the arms up and turned, right? So for me, this helps. I find revolved triangle a super hard pose. And as I get older, super harder. All right, Jonna, that's good from the back body. Okay, here we go. Titasana first. Good, Young Quay. All right, use your arms to turn. So now the trunk is facing the left leg. Beautiful. Take a long stance, Rahel. All right. Left leg is forward. That means left hand on hip. Right arm reaches forward. Now go slowly. Keep the leg straight. Reach out. As you reach out, Lubna, it's good. I almost think you're almost too wide. Now place the right hand down. Okay, that's it, Peggy. And now, Peggy, you've got, everybody has to bring the right shoulder blade onto their back. Come on. So it's not, those of you whose back, like Peggy, is screened toward me, cut that shoulder blade down. Rahel, good. I think, Rahel, I'd like to see the block a little bit lower because the left shoulder is higher than the hip, and I think you can go lower. Young Quay, you might even go flat palm to the floor. Just try it. Yukiko, same thing. Lubna, much better. Now cut that right shoulder blade down. Donna, you can go lower because the shoulder's higher than the hip. I know everyone takes too much height. Now that's it. Now extend down into the right arm. Reach up. Remember that beautiful thing you did a moment ago, or maybe moments ago. Chin away from sternum. Now to come up, place the hand on the hip, reach forward with the right arm, and up you come. Okay, I think that's probably, as Gita would say, enough for today about that. But we've made, revolved triangle, as I said, is a tricky pose. It's a challenging pose. Okay, because the back in that asymmetrical leg position wants to round, right? You saw that, you saw it on me, you know? All right, so let's do this. We'll come down to the floor, and I want to show you something actually quite interesting. So think about revolved triangle supine. Maybe you haven't thought about it. All right, so now I want to show you something. So there is an inversion in Shirshasana where we split the legs and turn. We're not doing that. It's actually quite a challenging inversion, but I'm going to show you its iteration, supine. Okay, so I think I have to say that my geometry is failing me with the camera. All right, so watch. All right. So it's not Ekapada, Jetta, or Parvatasana, although some of you are probably saying, oh, I bet that's what she's going to do. I'm going to do this. I'm going to start, and this will be our last pose. So Dvipada, which you all know and love, Orva Prasarita Ekapadasana. All right. And then I'm going to use a little bit of my abdominals. I'm going to shift the legs, my pelvis, like Jetta, to the right. And then I'm going to take my right leg to the floor and reach out with, did I say shift? No, I meant shifting with the left, and this left leg is coming forward. So let me do that again. In fact, it might be easier to bend the legs, and then I'm reaching, so I shifted, we'll do this. We'll bend the legs, shift to the right, and extend this top right leg out, and extend the bottom left leg down. Now, those of you, Lubna, and Rahel, and then any hip issues, there's a tendency to what we call crisscross the groins. So you see how I'm reminding myself that the inner thighs are moving away from each other, but the hips are compact. So there is a pose, a variation of Shirshasana like that. Okay, so let me try to take you through that. All right, so you're starting in Dvipada, and that'll feel good after all the revolved asymmetrical poses. All right, now just to make life easy breezy, extend the arms out to the side in line with the shoulders. Now shift a little bit to your right, the pelvis, like we do in Ekapada Jetta or Jetta. And now extend the right leg to the left and extend the bottom left leg on the floor. Okay, that's it, Andy. Now, especially for those of you with any groin issues in the right hip, move your inner thighs away from each other, but compact the hips. And then imagine you were standing upside down, balancing on your head. I just put my hands in Shirshasana interlace, and I'm pretending I'm 20 again in this variation. Okay, now come back to center, pause, shift a smidge to the left, arms are still out. Okay, then extend your left leg in the air, bottom right leg on the floor. Again, especially if your left hip is an issue, Lubna, put your hands between your thighs. Everyone, the mantra here is inner thighs are moving away. And that's even if you don't have a hip issue. Good, Donna, compact the hips. Donna, Rahel, those of you stand on your head and do this variation, you know exactly what I mean, right? So there is this iteration of Shirshasana. That's beautiful. Now come back to center. All right, now much more palatable on some level, just bent leg Jetta, taking the legs in Dvipada, shifting the pelvis a bit to the left if you need to keep the chest parallel to the ceiling as you take the legs to the right, covering the legs over the floor. And then come back to center. Good, Andy. That's good, Jetta. Come back to center. Shifting, that's always the question, the perennial question, to shift or not to shift. If your chest does not, if you swing the legs to the left and you're unable to keep the chest parallel to the floor, then by all means shift to the right as you now swing the legs to the left. You can do straight leg Donna, that's fine. Straight leg Jetta. Otherwise, we're doing the bent leg Jetta, which feels good on the back. Okay. And now come back to center, bent leg Jetta. Shifting to the left, swinging to the right, hovering. So it's an abdominal pose. So the legs are bent. It could be straight, that's the final pose, but as we're going towards Shavasana, I don't want to, I want to move toward not exciting the central nervous system. Okay. And then one more time to the left, those of you who haven't completed the cycle. All right, now I'd like you to sit in Baddha Konasana because we did a lot of adduction. If you need a wall with a blanket to sit in Baddha Konasana, then please do. You might find Baddha Konasana a little bit harder now, having done what we did. Yeah, Yokiko, that's really good. And you can have just the foundational Baddha Konasana where the hands are beside your hips, just to get the tallness in the lower spine. Oh, that's fine to do, it's fine. Press the feet. Those who can, bring the heels closer into the perineum, widen the thighs away. If you're, actually everyone's knees look good, but know that if the knees are higher than the hip crease, the groin, then taking additional height can help. The other way, often what helps Baddha Konasana is what I call half Baddha, half Upavishta Konasana, because it's much easier to get the knee down. And then of course one with chest, but I've done that before, but just to remind yourself, righty, that's good. Tallness in the lower spine. A good pose to do after twists and back bends. In fact, I was in class with Patricia when we did actually, a lot of back bends, and we sat in Baddha Konasana. It was quite nice. Okay, now everyone give a good stretch to the legs. Okay, so similarly, the way we started class, and I asked you to sit in a comfortable seat, pick a Shavasana that you feel that you're able to relax in. So some people find prone Shavasana very relaxing. Some people find it not relaxing at all. So the main thing here is to pick a pose that you can indeed calm your mind, right? So you can put lower legs on the seat of the chair. I saw some of you, this is quite nice, just to, again, as a reminder. So if you have a bolster, instead of putting it on your shins or on your abdomen, what's really nice to restore length in the lower spine is to take the bolster on what I call the tall sun, you see? So notice how the knees are slightly forward of the hips. And I put the bolster on the tall side at the roots of the thighs. And then look, I pronate the palms on the bolster and I traction my lower spine away. It's beautiful. So remember that iteration. Okay. Because I see a lot of people that have put the bolster on their abdomen, which is great, on their shins, but not as much as this way. So just to remind you. Okay. I'll give you a few moments to settle in a comfortable Shavasana of your choice. Just the arms so that they're not overhead or just a few inches away from the sides of the body. Just your throat, your head, so that the sides of the throat, the neck, the mouth is relaxed. An eye pillow or strap over your eyes. And again, as when we sit at the very beginning of the class, it takes time for the mind and body and the breath to merge together. Now observing the touchstones of the body as it lies on the earth. Back of the head, back arm. The prone, feeling the front body resting on the earth. And then again, within the body, there is the body, if you will, of the breath. Inhalation, exhalation. Inhalation, pause at the top. The exhalation, pause at the base. The body, dimensions of the breath. And if it helps you to use one of those anchors to be present, allow yourself to feel the body resting, or just simply observe the breath, the body of the breath, the way through them. Just as a reminder to come back to Atta, to now. And then additionally, as a remember, Satipatthana, is remembering to come back to the breath or to the body, the breath of the body. Come back to that phrase, "O nobly born, remember who you truly are." Allow yourself to feel content of those words in your heart. Nobly born, remember who you truly are. Without the likes and dislikes, without attachment, without aversion. Remembering the very nature of your true self. And then perhaps as a daily dharma throughout the day, when things come up, there's a sense of strong likes, dislike, attachment, aversion. Remember this phrase. And see if it begins to, just by the repetition of the phrase or remembering the phrase, see if that aversion, that attachment begins to weaken. Nobly born, remember who you truly are.